All right, good morning, everybody. Get ready to go slow, go careful, and break out those math rockstar moves. We are getting ready for test 12. So let's check out the test 12 review. So one coming at us from lesson 57. Here the question is asking, the spinner below is divided into 6 equal-sized sectors. The big thing to remember when you're figuring out probability, they have to be equal sized. So what is the probability that the spinner will stop on a number greater than 4? So the big thing to remember here, probability is a fraction. The second thing you want to focus on is these 3 words right here, greater than 4. Is 4 greater than 4? No, 4 is equal to 4. What you got going on here? 5 is greater than 4, and 6 is greater than 4. So now probability is a fraction. So I need a denominator that tells the total number of pieces. Looks to me like I have 6 total pieces there. Out of those 6 total pieces, how many of them are greater than 4? That would be 2. So your probability is 2 out of 6, otherwise known as 2/6. Check out this guy. The dividend is 250. The divisor is 5. What is the quotient? And hopefully you know these words. If not, you can always look back at lesson 20 or in the back of your book. The quotient simply means the answer when you divide. Do you know what the dividend is? That's the number inside the box, right? We have 250. The divisor is simply the number we're dividing by. So 250, I'm going to start dividing by 5 by saying 25 will divide evenly by 5. And I'm going to put my 5 right up on top of the 25 where I'm starting. I'll multiply it back for 25, and I'm going to subtract it out for 0. I'm going to bring down my extra 0 because I must have a quotient number on top of here as well. 0 divides by 5 0 times. Multiplies back for 0, and it subtracts for 0, right? So the final answer, what is the quotient? It is 50. Check out this guy coming at us from lesson 52, the old place value. And if you're confused, use the place value chart in your book. You'll find it over in lesson 52. We keep going over and over and over it. The first 3 sections are the no names, 1, 10, 100. Then you got the 1,000 group, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, and so on. So look at each section. My first section right now is 92 million. So I want 92 right here in my millions group. 92 sounds like you would need 9 tens and 2 ones to make 92 million, right? The next section, 47,000 is my group here, right? So I want to put 47 in the 1,000 group. Well, 47 is also 4 tens will give you 40, and 7 ones will give you 7, right? Our next section, 112, doesn't have a group name, so it sounds like it's going on the no name group. How do I do 112? With a 1, and a 2. That's how to make 112, right? One last step, though. You got a little blank space here. I can't leave anything blank once I got digits on either side, so I need a 0 right here. 92,047,112. This guy also coming at us from lesson 52. Which digit is in the hundred millions place? So let's check it out. Here is my no-name group. These guys have to be my thousand group. So here's my millions group right here. This group here is the billions. So here's 1 million, 10 million. Looks to me like the 6 is in the hundred millions place. Check out this guy coming at us from lesson 50. Lesson 50 is all about averaging, and remember there's 2 steps for averaging. Add all the numbers, and then you want to divide by how many numbers you added. So the number of players on the 4 team were 5, 6, 9, and 8. If the squads were changed so that the same number of players were on each team, that's what averaging is all about, making all the numbers equal. How many players would each squad have? So let's go ahead and do some adding here. I have 5 plus 6 plus 9 plus 8. So 5 plus 6 is 11, plus 9 more is 20, and 8 more, that makes 28. The first step is add all the numbers. Then step number 2, divide by how many numbers you added. Hey, looks to me like I added 4 different numbers. 28 divided by 4, that would give me 7 players on each team if I was going to go and make them all the same. Check out this guy coming at us from lesson 53, and if you're confused, there is a picture in your book on this lesson. And it's saying the radius of the circle is 22 inches. The radius is defined as the length from the center of the circle to one side of it. Halfway across is 22 inches. So they want to know what the diameter would be. Then the diameter is the distance all the way across the circle through the center. So if that side is 22 inches, that would have to mean this side's also 22 inches. 22 plus 22, hey, that's got to be 44 inches for the diameter, the distance all the way across the circle. What is the perimeter of this triangle? Remember, perimeter. You add all sides, right? So let's start here. I have 10 plus 6 more is 16. 16 plus the final 8. That is sounding like it's going to be 24 centimeters, correct? Check out this guy. If 5/8 of the spectators were cheering for the home team, what fraction of the crowd wasn't cheering for the home team? And I have had students who get completely freaked out saying, Mr. Hines, they don't tell us how many people in the crowd. They don't need to, because they're not asking you how many. They just want to know what fraction. So let's start off with 5/8 right now. There's an eighth, and 2/8, and 3/8, and 4/8, and 5/8. This is the crowd that is cheering for the home team right here. 5/8 of the crowd. So what fraction wasn't cheering for the home team? What do you have left? 3/8 of the crowd wasn't cheering for the home team, right? It's that simple. Check out this one coming at us from lesson 57. Here it says, if today's chance of rain is 20%, what is the chance that it'll rain today? And remember, chance is a word, either impossible, unlikely, likely, or certain. Some people keep mixing up chance and probability. So the easiest way to do this, if they're telling you 20%, well, half we know is 50%, right? 50% is half. So where is 20% going to go on this line? It would have to be somewhere right about here. Would be 20% is less than 50%. So that means your chance is that it is unlikely. One coming at us from lesson 46. Here it says, TJ finished reading 1/6 of the 30 pages. How many pages has TJ read? And the little hint that I wrote down there, remember, if your numerator is 1, all you have to do is divide by the denominator. And my numerator is 1. My denominator is 6. That's what I want to divide by. 30 divided by 6. How many pages has TJ read? Looks to me like he's read 5 of them so far. One coming at us from lesson 54. 2-digit dividing, but the good news is it's a multiple of 10. It ends in a 0, and it makes your multiplying extremely easy. So I'm going to start dividing into 83 here. I know that 2 times 4 is 8, so 20 times 4 has to be 80, right? I'm going to go and multiply this guy back. I'm going to subtract it out for 3. I'm going to bring down my next digit and park it next to my subtraction answer. And I'm getting ready to do it all over again. This time I'm going to divide 35 by 20. Well, 20 times 1 is 20. 20 times 2, hey, that's 40. So it's only going to fit in there one time. Multiply that back by 20. And it's going to go and subtract for 15, which seems awfully large. But remember, your divisor is 20. Your remainder just has to be smaller than your divisor. So I'm going to call this 41, remainder 15. Here we have one coming at us from lesson 55. Technically, it's 3-digit multiplying, isn't it? But you know what? If your 0 comes at the end, why not take a shortcut and set them up for the old dangle the 0 trick, right? Let's start multiplying here. 2 times 3, that's 6. 2 times 3 more, that's 6 again. And 2 times 4, hey, that's 8. Before I'm getting ready to multiply it out, erase everything because that's just one set of answers. Write down your 0 and let's get ready to multiply out again. This time I'm going to multiply by the 3, but he's really 30, isn't he? So 3 times 3, that's 9. 3 times the other 3, that's 9 as well. And lastly, I'm going to go 3 times 4, and that's 12. Now, here's where it gets a little bit interesting since we did the dangle the 0 bit. Bring them straight down right here, and don't forget to add them in. So I have nothing plus 0, that's giving us 0. 6 plus 0, that's 6. 6 plus 9 is 15. I write down my 5. I'm going to carry my 1, not all the way to the top where I'm multiplying, just right here where I'm adding. 1 plus 8 plus 9, that's giving us 18. So I write down my 8 and I carry my 1 here. 1 plus 2, that gives us 3. And nothing plus 1 is 1. The trickiest part about this is making sure you bring down your dangled 0. Now let's go and make sure we get our commas in the right place. 1 digit, 2 digit, 3 digit, comma. So you ended up with 138,560. One coming at us from lesson 58, where now our objective is to divide and write the quotient as a mixed number. So let's just figure out where we're going to start dividing. 62 divided by 7, that sounds to me like it's only going to go in there 8 times. Multiplies back for 56, and 62 minus 56 is 6. Bring down the next number, park it right next to your subtraction answer, and I'm ready to start dividing all over again. 66 this time, divided by 7. Looks like it's going in there 9 times. Multiplying it back for 63, and it is subtracting for 3. But here is the kick. They want the answer as a mixed number. So I'm not going to say remainder 3. This 3 I wrote down here for my remainder, that's going to be my numerator. And as always, over here, my divisor is my denominator. So 89 and 3/7. Check out this guy. Pretty easy. Remember, we're going to line them up vertically, put our fractions on one side, our whole numbers on the other, and when you add and subtract fractions with the same denominator, all you have to do is add or subtract the numerators. 3/5 plus 2/5. Well, that's 5/5. And really, 5/5 equals 1 whole, doesn't it? So I can't write 1 whole down here on the fraction side, and I don't want to write 5/5. I got to carry that 1 whole over here to the whole number side. 1 plus 3 plus 4, hey, that's 8. Do not write your answer 7 and 5/5. It is simply the whole number 8. 1 coming at you here too. Again, I'm going to put my whole numbers on one side, my fractions on the other. We already have people getting these guys wrong initially because they're trying to do it all in their head. Take 5 extra seconds and put it on a piece of paper. And it has to start off borrowing because I can't start with nothing and try to take away 3/7. So I borrow 1 whole and I'm going to bring it over to the fraction side. I'm dealing in 7, so I want to write that 1 whole as 7/7, right? 7/7 minus 3/7, that's going to give us 4/7. And now I can go on and do the whole number side. 7 minus 3, that's 4. But a lot of people do in their head, they're going to forget that you borrowed over here, and they're going to get it wrong because they're going to write the whole number down wrong. Don't let this happen to you. Check out this guy. 2 rules to remember. Do the work in parentheses first. And the other hint I gave you is if one number has a decimal point, write them all with a decimal point. So I'm going to start off here with the work in parentheses first. I don't want to go and just write this as 4 because you might get confused and want to put it over here. It's not 4 pennies, it's $4, right? If one of the numbers has a decimal point, write them all with a decimal point. So I end up with $16.65 plus $4. That's going to be actually pretty easy. $20.65. But that's not your final answer. This is just the answer for the work in parentheses. Now over here, I gotta set it up. $40, and one of my numbers has a decimal point, so I gotta write them all with a decimal point, right? $40 minus $20.65. A lot of subtracting and borrowing to do on this guy. Start over here with 0. You can't go 0 minus 5, can you? You go to your neighbor. He's broke. He goes to his neighbor, says, no man, I'm broke too. Finally, the 4 says, yeah, I got one I can spare. So he pays his neighbor 1, making him 10, right? So now he says, hey man, I got 10. I can borrow you 1. So he becomes the 9. Hands off over here. Now we got 10 here, and we can go and borrow 1. So he becomes 9. And you go and you pay that final neighbor. The big mistake, don't cross him out and write 9 on top of the digit in the ones place. Is he borrowing anything to anybody? I don't think so. Just go ahead, stop right here and start subtracting. 10 minus 5, hey, that's 5. 9 minus 6, that's giving us 3. 9 minus 0, that's going to give us 0. And finally, 3 minus 2 is 1. Don't forget your $sign and your decimal point, right? And that is the end. There is no Socrative today, so just grab your sheets when you are ready. Go slow, go careful, double check the questions and your answers, and